What's going on, guys? It's Nate here, and I got a little bit of a different video for you today. Let me know if you like it in the comments. Two of my favorite franchises of all time are Destiny and Overwatch, and both games I've played for thousands of hours. I've had great memories on both of them and made some great friends. Both games have their own unique faults and flaws, and I could probably make a video about each of them. But today I want to talk about how each game handles putting out a sequel and how it affects the flow of content and the effect on the community. Bungie were the guys who made Halo back in the day originally, and they also created the Destiny franchise when the game first launched in 2014, and they also made a second entry, Destiny 2, coming out in 2017. While the player base has fluctuated wildly and is not 100% happy with every choice ever made, for the most part, players are enjoying the new content and keep coming back every season and every major DLC release, with the upcoming Witch Queen being seen as an exciting addition to the game. The life of the game kind of went something like this. So Destiny 1 comes out, and after troubled development with major story and gameplay changes happening pretty close to launch, a big chunk of players left the game instantly, seeing it as a missed opportunity, and they don't play the subsequent small DLCs that come out and fail to address the major problems the game had at launch. Then, a year after the launch of Destiny 1, they released an expansion that's far bigger than the previous two that refines many systems and gameplay issues that the vanilla game launched with. Then, a year after that, they released a medium-sized DLC that wasn't quite as big as the previous one, but it is very well received, although it doesn't quite hit the bar that the previous DLC had set. So that's the end of Destiny 1, where Taken King is the benchmark for great content, and Rise of Iron leaves the franchise with a solid ending point for its first game. Bungie actually didn't want to create a sequel from that game and wanted to just add on to the momentum that the final DLCs and updates had given the player base. However, Bobby Kotick needed to collect his $100 million bonus to continue to live his lifestyle of being the human equivalent of the scum on the underside of a porta potty next to a taco truck, and they were forced to make Destiny 2. Destiny 2 comes out and it has the same exact problems Destiny 1 had, almost as if forcing artists to make a game when they're not inspired due to your greed doesn't always work. The vanilla game of Destiny has some improvements, but not anything worthy of a sequel. A full-blown AAA sequel takes more time, money, and resources than a $30 to $40 expansion, and the player base demands a lot more. Adding an SMG and a grenade launcher and reworking some classes isn't what I'd call groundbreaking work here. Just as with Destiny 1, Destiny 2 came out with two smaller-sized and disappointing DLCs that was saved by a large expansion later on called Forsaken. Forsaken added more to the Destiny franchise than Destiny 2 Vanilla did, and was considered a success by the community and by Bungie. Today, the content is still regarded as good, even when they put content into the vault to save space and make future patches easier and faster. They saved about half of Forsaken because it was just that good. This praise was pretty much unanimous. Who would have thought that adding a raid, dungeons, new subclasses, reworking weapons, adding random perk rolls to guns, and adding new game modes to play would be so good for the game? Apparently everyone did, except for the higher ups at Activision, who said the effort was not worth it and Forsaken was a failure because it didn't sell well enough. Well, maybe if you didn't force Bungie to create an uninspired sequel, you wouldn't have lost so many players up to that point. Bungie said, "Enough of this trash, we're proud of Forsaken and the revitalization of the IP. We left Microsoft years ago after we made Halo so we could be more independent and not have to be creatively stifled by some idiot higher-ups." Bungie actually broke off their partnership with Activision early. They were supposed to work on Destiny for 10 years, and it had only been 5 since Destiny 1 released. About this time in the game's life cycles when you think they would choose to release a medium DLC like they did with Rise of Iron and Destiny 1, and then focus all attention onto making Destiny 3. We'll come back to Destiny 3 after we talk about Overwatch and how they're handling the game over there. Overwatch is a completely different game from Destiny and therefore has its own unique problems. For instance, since Overwatch is a hero-based PvP-only shooter, it doesn't release major DLC expansions. Instead, it releases maps and new heroes to play to keep the game updated and fresh and keep the players engaged. And honestly, for a while, it was working quite well. Everyone I knew played nearly every day. Streamers played and got very popular off the game, but what happened? Today, there's only a few streamers who can play this game full-time and still make a living. Big names like Tim the Tatman and XQC have all moved on from Overwatch and have been better off for it. Well, between games like Fortnite taking over the world, poor hero balancing, and the inability to adapt to new financial models like being free to play and having battle passes, Overwatch lost a lot of players at an alarming rate. One of the major metas that Overwatch has was called GOATs, and it involved using 3 tank heroes and 3 support heroes with 0 DPS heroes. And DPS is by far the most popular role since it just involves shooting people and getting rewarded for it, but if you didn't play GOATs, you would often just get steamrolled. Instead of balancing the heroes, they added role queue to the game where it forced you to pick 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 2 supports per team, artificially solving the hero imbalance. Being able to play the fun DPS heroes again was great, but that's all people wanted to do, and therefore queue times skyrocketed for the DPS role. So, do you want to play the cool cyborg ninja guy that could double jump, climb walls, and deflect bullets? You can, but it'd be an exponentially longer wait to get into a game than if you played Rectangle Shield Man, who was the focus of all the stuns and boops and would get tossed around for the entire game. So what could Blizzard do to save the game? What would revitalize it? Well, take a look at Apex, Fortnite, and Minecraft. All these games have been declared dead and trash by the gaming community, and yet they're just as popular as they ever were today. They added and changed their games live, and the quality of life and fun factor went up. They engage with their content creators with things like accepting feedback, hosting events, and giving them creator codes to get a portion of profits off the in-game stores as a thank you, and a way to keep them streaming and promoting their games. So we have two games with Destiny and Overwatch, but here's where I believe Bungie just outshines Blizzard. Instead of going through with their sequel, making Destiny 3, they cancel it and just continue to add on to the quality game that they had already laid out in front of them. Why? Because creating a sequel when your game needs a boost is a death sentence. Since Bungie left Activision Blizzard, they have produced a lot of content. They said to release Destiny 3, they would have to essentially leave Destiny 2 where it is for 3 to 4 years, and the community would of course leave, play other games, as there'd be nothing else added into the game. So instead, they released 6 season passes with accompanying weapons, story missions, and activities. They released 2 major DLC expansions, one of which included 3 new subclasses. And to top it off, they recently added a 30th anniversary event with Halo weapons, a new activity, and a new dungeon.
Ooh. 3 headshots for the frag. And he does the fucking grenade jump. Is that a battle rifle?
Nothing escapes your life.
Yo, dude, I'm losing it.
On the other hand, since Blizzard announced Overwatch 2, they've released 0 new core maps into the game and just a single hero. Since then, it's been essentially radio silent with nothing as basic as a release date to show us.
I said this yesterday.
Fun fact.
I feel bad for saying this because I want Overwatch to do well. But dude, it feels like such a fuck you that they're not going to give us any more content in Overwatch 1. Which I am ashamed of. That stuff is cool. All that stuff is, you know, exciting. But when's Overwatch 1 getting content? Like, all that stuff, I admit, yeah, it looks neat. It looks cool. I'll definitely sniff it out. But we need things now.
The only new things this franchise has gotten recently has been made by its community members on certain grown-up sites. And sure, while the animation quality may put Pixar to shame, how about some actual Blizzard animated shorts? Whatever happened to the anime Netflix show that was rumored? League of Legends gets Arcane, and we get Hanzo holding a cup. And it sucks because I don't want to roast the Overwatch team because truthfully a lot of the problems are not their fault. Some of them are, of course. They are not flawless, especially regarding communication and game balance. But when it comes to making an unnecessary sequel and announcing it way too early, COVID, and the recent nasty allegations made about the company, and then they had the director leaving, a lot of these problems are simply not the core team's fault, but the upper management who are out of touch with their team and the players. There has been nothing I've seen from Overwatch 2 that shows me a sequel is necessary to create these experiences. Some PvP maps and new heroes easily could have been done in Overwatch 1. The PvE missions might be a huge undertaking, but I'm not sure why you have to make a completely different sequel for it. Why not make a huge Overwatch 1 patch, a 2.0 Overwatch 1 patch instead of making Overwatch 2? Just anything to not cut off the content flow for years at a time. Overwatch 2 just simply seems to be a mistake. Following the path of other games such as Apex, Fortnite, and Destiny, and adding and adapting to the industry instead of abandoning your fans for years would have served this franchise pretty well. I'm very sad that Overwatch is in the state that it's in right now, especially since this could have been avoided. Overwatch 2 can succeed as the first one did, but it's an uphill battle. I know plenty of people who are interested in Overwatch 2, but don't even play Overwatch 1 right now because there's simply no reason to. I'm hoping that we get some major news soon and that the game is a hit, but I can't say that the content drought will have been worth it, no matter how good the game is. Hopefully this is a lesson that the gaming industry can learn from. Anyway guys, that's pretty much going to be it for me. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like, and a subscription would be nice. I have some more clips from the Destiny and the Overwatch community that kind of just further illustrates my points if you want to stick around and watch those, but if not, thanks for stopping by and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Destiny 3, what are we doing? Are we, because I think some people are surprised that Destiny 3 is not coming this time around. Are we going to keep Destiny 2 and just keep stacking on expansions? Do you want to make a Destiny 3?
And like right now, we've really recommitted the team to Destiny 2, the next chapter of it's this fall.
This chart is Google Trends.
and it's the term Overwatch. So what that'll tell you is how interested the world is in Overwatch based off search results. Overwatch is the only chart you can compare it to other titles too. It is the only game of the major games that have come out in the last 5 or 6 years that has not been able to beat its previous year's peak once. Not a single time, which this just goes to show really, really poor management and really, really poor execution.
Overwatch 2 not being like a transitional update from Overwatch into what they're making and having them make it as an entire new game is a huge misstep. Massive. When they said they're announcing Overwatch 2, and this is years ago now, right? Overwatch has kind of just remained stagnant now this entire time because there's nothing. Everyone's like working on Overwatch 2, the new game.
Checking the recording time, we've now been attempting to queue for this map for 50 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah!